Like your style, kid. But get the gun out of my face. Hey, it's Jeep Bonding with Board Games and RPGs. So again, we're rejoining. There was a mortar attack. Major McGiffin and Sergeant Wilson, boom, pushed two Humvees out to go find that mortar. They got completely destroyed, and no prisoners were taken, even though Bartek wanted some. The hate and bloodlust is up out in the community, leading to what I believe is going to be a major confrontation. Krieg, under Law 48, which we're using from the 48 Laws of Power, part of the guiding principle for his sociopathic ways, is using Law 48, assume formlessness. He's to be like the water. So he's kind of been in the background, but he suggested that the orphan kids, which came in like episode 7 or something, they were starving. Krieg was on a generous kick, and they brought them in, and they've been hanging out. Pacheco's kind of taken an interest in them. Pacheco is one of the contractors from PimGym. His history is as a SWAT team law enforcement member out of New Hampshire. So the kids, I don't even think I've ever named them, and it's time to do that. All right, we looked up some boy names. The 16-year-old, Casimir. I like Casimir. Is it Casimir? I don't know. And then the 12-year-old who is staying on base is Edek, E-D-E-K. And right near that, I was torn between because there was Alec. And I thought, you know what? That's fine. The 10-year-old is Alec. So Casimir and Alec are going to be going out. Now, before they go out, I know. So he's opened up with the fact that Pacheco wanted to just briefly, they're literally going to be going out at night. And their goal is they're kids that are going to infiltrate, they are from the community, but they've got to get information and then get this information back to Pacheco, back to the compound. Edek, the 12-year-old, is going to stay behind. I think the first thing is I see Pacheco getting with the Marauders, who have been working with PimGym. PimGym's the contracting name that Kane and Krieg, the company he owned that worked for the military before everything went south in the world. And he asked them for like a pistol that Casimir could be armed with. And Jan, the Marauder leader, produces his Tokarev and says he can take this. And then also brings out like a hunting knife that would be, looks like I guess not a hunting knife. I'm thinking more of like, it'd be more like a shank, but like a piece of steel that's been sharpened and then wrapped in what I think of as like rawhide and made into like a homemade knife, but sharp. And he gives this to Alec. So their only weapons is going to be like a homemade knife for Alec, and the Tokarev with just a full mag of ammo that he can. Where would he? That's hard to hide. I think he gives him a little holster for it as well, and puts it in. Now, Pacheco wants to make sure he knows how to use it, so he takes him out to a berm, and he gives him some basic shooting expertise. You know, you put the front sight in between the back sight, and you hold, and he gives them firm grip. He's giving them lessons. This is what he planned to do. The whole reason he became a contractor was he wanted to make enough money to start his own shooting school, survival school, whatever. And he's passing those tips on now to Casimir. He's bonded with the kids, and he realizes it is time to earn their keep. I don't think he's anti on this, but I mean, the kids were living out there anyway, but he wants to help them in whatever way possible. And they are, the whole compound's in a bind. I think he shows, no, I know he shows Alec key places really to stab. Take the femoral in the leg and whatnot. So he gives them some basic tips and dirties them up. He literally, they'd gotten cleaned up living in the compound, and he literally is sitting with them and has them sit down on the ground and is rubbing dirt in their hair and in their face and their clothes, and just making sure that they'll be able to blend in. And it almost serves as like a bonding, like father-son process. Now, he works on some shooting. We've got to come up with some basic skills for the kids. So we got to go to the player's manual, and I'm just going to shoot this from the hip real quick. We're going to go to civilians under the quick making of a character. I'm not going to go through and do everything on their sheet, because what we're going to give both of these kids is very low strength, like D. They're both going to be D for strength. Agility is going to be A for both. And intelligence. They've survived this long. I'm going to roll for the intelligence, but, well, let's just see how it goes. We'll roll. Actually, let me just do percentile dice, and the higher they are, I need it broken down in fours. I don't have a four-sided dice, so let's just break it into fives, and we'll go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and we've got 50. So under intelligence, they're just going to be, let's just go with C at this point in time. Should be 50-50, but that's fine. And empathy. I think the empathy, which is command and persuasion, I think we're going to go D. So I don't think there's much empathy with these kids going on. It's really self-serving at this point in time. No command, no persuasion, no medical aid, low strength, just top-notch agility, and a mission to just simply find out what's going on. We've got our weapons that are with them, with side skills, no driving. I think mobility under the agility is going to be super high. So mobility, we're going to run the A as well. So A, mobility, and no close combat, no stamina. I mean, just the little shooting we've got, I think, and the knife. Let's give them a D for CC, for close combat. It's bad, but at least they'll get a D6. Survival under intelligence, though, I'm going to give survival and even recon, because they can blend in. I think I'm going to give them both a B for survival and for recon. Now they're going to stay together. It works with their plan. And I'm trying to figure out how their infiltration would go. How their infiltration go. This is a full recon mission. So first things first, they've got to get out of the compound unseen. And that, looking at the map, we have the map up now. I think the best way to do this would be to pop through on the southeast corner of the map near that large church in the corner. The way that church sits in, there's a fence separating it, but the way the trees kind of blend in, I think the kids could work their way out of there. And then at least, even if spotted, they would appear as if they're coming from the church area. Their goal is going to be get away from the compound and just find where the citizens are gathering. So that's their simple deal. Just blend in, gain some information, and report back. So the first thing I want to do is do like a stealth roll and see, are they able to get out of the area without being spotted. So we have the, I think we would do recon, so the B and the C, and I think it's the hardest area to get this done. So we're going to do the 10-sided die and the 8-sided die. All right, C, are they even able to move? The compound's under its own surveillance. They are moving out at night. So see if they have a successful stealth on their recon roll. They can't push this, so we'll just see what it is. And, oh yeah, okay, a 10 and a 7. So that's 3 successes. They blend and get out clean. That's number one. I honestly thought they may not be able to get out of there without being spotted. But I like the exit plan, great success. So they're going to have 0 problems getting away from the compound. They will not be associated at this point with coming from the compound. I think that's solid with 3 successes. Very good. So the next phase is they're working their way through the neighborhoods. Now, this is still, it's nighttime. And I think I've got to do a question first. Do they find an area and hunker down? Hunker down until daylight. Or, well, let's just do that. Hunker down until daylight. We're at a chaos factor. You know what? I want to move that chaos factor off after that ambush up to a 7. We're jumping the chaos factor up to a 7. 7 chaos factor. So with the ambush going down, the 2 MVs being destroyed, the order was there to take captives the citizens, or at least the ambushing folks. Did not do that. Pretty hostile time. And I think these kids would hunker down. I'm going to go with likely. So 90 and below, they're just going to hunker down till morning and see what they see. We have a 66, so yes. They hunker down. They've separated from the compound. They've found a place to lay low, and daylight comes. So as daylight comes, they take in their surroundings and basically where they're at. I'm saying south and east of the compound. Just in general, what are they seeing here? So I have 69 to try to give me an idea. Rune. Okay, perfect. So they're seeing some kind of runes combined with 31 benefits. Runes? Runes with benefits. Okay. Runes with benefits. What would that be? Okay, well, kids, indigenous kids, these are survivors. I think that what happens is Casimir and Alec find some runes that they even recognize in a pinch they could use as a new place like to hide out and maybe be safe. All right, I'm picturing almost like an A-framed room that's heavily supported girders. It's clear that things have collapsed around it, but this has actually made its own strong point, or at least so it appears to them. So runes with benefits. I would say this will be a possible home base for them, whether the compound falls or not. All right, so they've got a base of operations for them to work out of. I like it. Actually, I like that a lot. I think the first thing that Casimir is going to do is, I think he'll stash some food that they brought along. So they had pocketed, some general food, and they stash it in this place. And they decide that that way even if they're stopped, they're not walking around with, all of their possessions on them. They would have a place to retreat to where at least there was food. They kind of cover up the area. Maybe I'm thinking like a little bit of tin or a rock that they can roll in the way. And they then venture out. We will do a recon roll here and see what they come across. They're going to be moving, reconning, and seeing what they can see versus them running into something. And I will do a random event here as well. So first, let me see if there's a successful recon. Yeah, again, 7 and an 8. Both successes, single successes, but that means they have 2. So whatever happens with these cards, daytime, city, and road, they will have the ability, they're kind of moving in a way that they will see it before it sees them. So let's see what that would be. So random card from the encounter deck. A bear's den. That doesn't make any sense at all, but does it work? Yes, daytime, but not in the city. So I gotta check. It does show if they were forted up, but they are not. They're on the road though. Yeah, this does not have the road symbol. It has off-road or camp. So no bear den. We're gonna dump that. That would mean no encounter, no random encounters. They go out. Okay. Bear den. They've got their own bear den. But they've got to know where, so there's no random encounter, but yes or no, do they spot other civilians moving around? I would think this would be very likely, especially in the agitated state with a chaos factor of 7. I'm going to go with a 95. Ooh, oh no, 49. Sorry, I saw the 9. So 49 is yes. So they see this, and I am curious. Let's just say we've got a citizen, and I want to know who this citizen is using Une. All right. 37 is going to be pragmatic. So a pragmatic and 5. Commoner. Perfect. So they're running into a pragmatic commoner. Good. And verb and noun. 29 is follow, and 7. Follow opulence. Follow opulence. All right, well, for me, that means they come across this commoner, a pragmatic. So just going with the flow, and they ask, hey, what would they want? Oh, where can we, we hear there's a movement, and we want to be part of it. And so follow the opulence is his advice, which means, I think he's basically going to say, so Opulence by Bartek would probably be his vehicles and his equipment. So he tells them, find the vehicles. Find the vehicles and you will find the people you're looking for. And he points them in a general direction, which they move in, and simple yes or no. Do they come across some of these vehicles? I think it's going to be, again, very likely. Chaos factor of 7. Ooh, 96 is a no. They do not find it. So let's go with another encounter then. So they did not find the vehicles in the way they walked. 96. I got to remember to go with the event focus table on a random event too if I get the doubles. So random event. They haven't found the vehicle. This is on a road. Everything has a price. A 9 of diamonds. Interesting. Ooh. So there are a band of marauders. They do find a band of marauders have set up a roadblock using sandbags. They are ready to negotiate with the PCs. Now, these aren't normal PCs. These are actual kids from Nisno. So it says they're willing to negotiate with player characters and let them pass. So, okay, we can still get that for the right price. They will defend themselves if attacked. They are armed with AKMs, and the group has 1 RPG-16. That's not good. With 1 reload, as well as civilian light truck with half a tank of alcohol fuel. Okay, but they're willing to negotiate with the PCs. Well, these are my PCs. So they see this first, though, because we do have the recon. There's a vehicle there. Follow the opulence. The kids got to get information. It looks like a standard checkpoint. They walk up to this checkpoint, and last ditch scenario will be to run if something goes bad. They have good mobility. So Casimir tells Alec, hang back a little bit. If this goes south, we're just splitting. If we lose contact with each other, go back to their den. They'll call it their den, which is the little hidey hole they found. So they approach, and all he has under empathy is a D, which would be a 6-sided die. And I think, though, is it just going to be persuasion? I think they just ask, they say they want to join Bartek. And I don't think that would be greeted very well by these marauders. I think it would be very likely that they would laugh that off. So a 95 or lower, 59, yeah, they chuckle, and one of the marauders is like, they don't need babies. They don't need babies in Bartek's army. And Casimir says, I want to fight. We can fight. And I think the disdain still comes out. But a 16-year-old is not necessarily weak. But the question would be, does he go bold? I think he does. I think Casimir pulls his Torkarov very close range and points it right at this marauder's face. And he is using, I don't know, is it his intelligence? What is he using here? Well, intelligence is a C and his recon would be a B, but if he's doing an empathy roll, he doesn't have command. I think it would be persuasion, which he doesn't have, but he's just got his D. Well, we'll see how this goes. I do think, with a Torkarov pointed right at his face and being told that that Bartek doesn't need babies, that he's made an impression. Rather than the 6, I think that alone carries with it. We'll up it to the D12. I think we'll give a 3-point plus. We're not going to give a whole nother die, but that's a pretty effective strategy. Could backfire. I'm going to leave this open for a backfire. Ooh, 9. So I was thinking the backfire might even got him killed. But I think the Marauder with the Torkarev pointed right at his face kind of grins and says, well, maybe you're his type, but I don't think he is. And he leans around and points right at Alec with the Torkarev still at the Marauder's face. And Casimir says, it's my brother. He goes where I go. I think that's going to be taken very positively by these guys. They like the boldness, the brashness, and the family bond. So I think that as well is going to be, is this appreciated? Very likely is where I'm rolling on 95 or less. 63, yes. Very appreciative. The Marauder says, like your style, kid, but get the gun out of my face. I think Casimir brings it down, and the Marauder says, just keep walking down this road, and you'll start coming across some of Bartek's people. But I wouldn't try the pistol in the face technique with them. So through the checkpoint, they move. I think as we're in tight grounds here, we got to keep doing some checks. The recon is still, we're going to stick with their recon is good. I like that recon roll, kind of showing their level of ability maybe for this day. They're still on high alert. So again, we'll see if there's a random event that will fit. Anything with Russians on it is I'm going to convert over to Bartek's people. He's a nationalist. He wouldn't be dealing with the Russians, but I think the Russians would be them. So we'll see what that is. We are on the road. The Mad King. Hello, this is the Ace of Spades. This tells me we'll see what this is. You may have found him already, the actual Bartek. What this points to is a village of 3d6. Wow. Well, that tells me that is not a village. This is the Marauder, or the Bartek's group that is forming to do the attack on the compound. 3d6. And this is like just, well, what's the rest of this read? Hold on. A village of 3d6 houses. Whoa. Surrounded by barbed wire, it is defended by locals, led by a power-mad leader, this is Bartek. He offers, this is perfect. This is perfect. He's going to offer the PCs to become part of his private army. I'm reading off the card. If they refuse, oh, they won't, although they're going to have to get back out. He orders them to leave half their gear. The leader, blah, 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 gives all his strengths. Let's see, carries an Uzi, okay, with 2 reloads. Okay, so I'll give Bartek an Uzi with 2 reloads. And then talks about how they're armed around him. It says hunting rifles, but this is going to be Bartek's group. So, 3d6s of houses. This is their base. So, this is going to be how many? 2, 1, 3, and 1. So 4. There's like a 4 homes on like a city block area that they've been directed to. There's a lot of vehicles. The opulence is on display, and they are sent directly in. I don't know, maybe, well, the Marauders sent them to this location. This is saying that they're allowed to, I think what this card is saying is maybe this is the area where Bartek's even bringing fighters together and they're funneling in. That makes sense to me. And they're funneled in. I think would the 10-year-old be questioned? I think he would. I think as Casimir comes in, he's told he can fight, but that the Alex seems too young. And I think he tells him the exact same thing. He goes where I go, and he's fought as much as I have. And we're going to sit on still the very likely, so we need a 95. That, hey, we're a package deal. They're accepted. 42. I like it. They're accepted. And what Casimir and Alec are seeing is a level of militia organization by Bartek's leadership. His nationalistic crew, it's not quite an army. I would say it is like 50 strong. Let's roll for it, not just me make it up. Let's go with how many people Bartek has on his side. The percentile die, 70. Okay, so he's got Bartek has 70 like nationalistic members. So we've already got some intel there. So he's got 70 members, and they're training up as many city militia as they can. And I think that would be way more than, I think you're talking 10 times your number. So let's figure that out. Let's see what this is, but I don't think it would be, it's at least 70. They're training their equivalent, but I'm going to add this percentile to that 70, another 70. So there's 140 citizens kind of getting militarized or organized. And this is just this day in this location. I don't think Bartek has a lot of weapons. Not that he's able to like hand out to these militia people. But I picture they're making Molotovs. There is some weapons recovery. Let's see, let's ask, yes or no, do they see like some of these 50s? The 150 was recovered from the Humvee, the 50 heavy machine gun. The other one was probably burned. But do they see some of these American weapons even being held or trophied? Or you do have the one Humvee without a wheel on. Maybe they've even fixed that. Again, I think very likely under a chaos factor of 7, we have 28. So yes, they see some U.S. weapons and that damaged Humvee is part of the intel they're picking up at this location. So they're being militiaed in. So the question here would be, how much intel are they going to gather? How good is it going to be? I think they're not going to have like the day of the attack or anything. But I think, let's see. Let's go with cards. I want to see how much do they gain on this day. That's pretty good haul of information already this day. 2 meaning they pick up a few more tidbits. Ace meaning they gain some great info. You first. Ooh, a jack. That jack of spade keeps coming up. So they learned something pretty good. What would they learn that's pretty good? I think they actually see maps, and I'm going to throw another map up, of the compound that are being, maybe they've been drawn in chalk on a wall, or maybe they've got You know, some area in the dirt where they've sketched out the compound and the kids get it. I like that. So they can see a form, whatever that may be, of the map of the compound. And on that they can see highlights of the entry points, north and south, and I think that would be about all I mean, they can see this thing, and that they're looking and studying this map of the compound. Now they would join in. So what in the heck would Bartek's Nationals be doing? I like the filling of the Molotovs. I think they would be putting volunteers into groups led by the 70 nationals that are part of Bartek. So they would be making basically the equivalent of squads, or maybe even platoon-sized groups that would be under the control of Bartek's leaders. And that they would definitely gather, because they're sectioned off, they're put with a group, and they are even seeing that based on this map, there are assigned, oh, I like it, there is assigned quadrants for which group attacks what part of the compound. Oh, that's perfect. All right, so they're there for the day. I'm curious, what would be the command and control? I mean, do you just let these people wander off? I don't think so. I think once you're there, they would maintain some kind of control over where you go. I think that's probably very likely. So, but let's roll under chaos factor 7. Yeah, 25. So Casimir and Alec realize it's not that they're held prisoner or anything, but now that they've joined, they're parked into a platoon-sized 30 people-ish element, and they're told to house or sleep in a building. And they've got their team leaders, which would be, you know, whatever, 5 elements or whatever of Bartek's Nationals running them, and that there's some food. So they, if they leave, they'll have to sneak out, and I'm not sure they want to do that yet. I think we pause right there. That's a heck of a lot of information gathered. Maybe all they need. But once they make a break for it, I think there's no coming back. So if they leave, they would probably face problems. Because at the very least, they basically eaten their stuff, gained their information, and then left. And that's not what Bartek's looking for. That was maybe part of the deal. You're either with us or against us. I like that. Is part of the deal that you're either with us or against us. And they've made that decision. 61, yes. They fort up for the night. They get something to eat. They have not received any weapons other than what they carried. Alec's shank-like thing and Casimir's Torquerette. They've gained some information, and whether or not they sneak out at night or stay for some more info, we'll determine in the next episode, because I don't know. That's it. Bonding with board games and RPGs. Thank you. The attack is imminent. Intel's been gained. What happens next? We'll figure it out.